of Red Wemette.
I was told by some people at the time they put out $1 million contract on my head.
Hello, folks. This is Red Wemette coming to you on August 30th, 2023. And we have, as I said, Joe Celozzi with us.
Howdy, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday at 4 o'clock. We're on time today.
Here's your buddy. He made a comment like right away.
Yeah, look at this. Robert, thank you for the wonderful blast you gave me the last few days and trying to call me on my stuff. I appreciate that. It's good to have people that we know. Let me know when you get back from Vietnam and you're over here. When did you find religion? My God. Well, when did this happen, Robert? I'm very surprised at you that you want to blast me in front of random ass people. That's okay. I love you. Why don't you wait till the first time? Although, if you remember, Red, he did say the first time when I came on, he gave me a beautiful send off on there. He did. And then he blasted me.
A little bit different than most people.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about his mental health because I guess we all have issues. We all have issues to a point. There he is, the crowd.
How you doing, crowd?
Also, hey, before we talk about the picture of Joe DiMaggio, I want to thank whoever fact checked. It was very nice of you guys to contact Adam at SolarMark Energy Solutions. And actually, I'm sitting in the SolarMark Energy Solution studio here, which he set up for me. And they do solar. We talked about it the first time. And his name is Adam, and he's with SolarMarkEnergy.com. But whoever they did call, they did send a message to him. And he said, by the way, do you know that Joe Celozzi is saying your name? And he goes, awesome. He said, awesome. And it was sort of short because he read it to me. It was like, I don't know, like he didn't say Joe Celozzi said something bad. He just said Joe Celozzi mentioned used your name or was on your behalf or something. And he said, awesome. And I thought I mentioned it to the guy. And I think I did that. I've known Adam for years. The company is family. And,
yeah,
and maybe he didn't realize that was him because, it's like calling my brother. Your brother's talking about you on, right? I mean, it's sort of, okay. Hi, everybody. Floridians. I guess when you get about 70, you go to Florida. True. Is that true, Red? That 60% of the people are over 70 in the state of Florida? Something like that. Is that true?
No.
Yeah, no. Higher?
No. I'll look it up for you right now. It's not true.
You think 30%, right, baby?
Let's be accurate.
I'm sure in certain areas, for sure, right? The retirement areas. Tim Hunt. Gentlemen, he's talking about you, gentlemen. Well, that's good. I guess we're gentlemen. So once you find out, I would say we got 16 million people in Illinois right now, almost 17 million. If I had to guess, Florida's probably got the same or more.
The average age in Florida is 42.2 years. And 60% of the people, 60% are under the age of 40.
Okay, so 40% is, I'm sure that's one of the higher ones. I mean, California probably, all the warmer climates are probably like that.
There's a lot of people that are moving here from California.
Yeah.
A lot of people, 1,000 a day moving from California.
And there was, for a while, that wasn't the place to move to. They were moving, people from New York, they were moving to Asheville because they're calling halfbacks because of the pricing and all the stuff going on. But, well, welcome everybody today. And I just want to thank your avid listener mentioning to my sponsor, Adam Albers. I thought that was wonderful. And then my other buddy, Robert Greco, he gave me a beautiful one. They blasted me bad, spread my cheeks. And I'm very surprised that, I know, there was probably a good show and a half. I could felt the tide. When you got a cult going, you have a certain energy with these people. You're like a savant with them. So anybody comes on your territory, they analyze it. They get worried. Who is this guy? Is he a fraud? Or yeah, it's the worst probably for most people. They vet him out, and usually you could sense it. So I passed the first step. So probably got a couple more to go, but I could sense it. It was they hugged me at the beginning and then they turned. Yeah, yes, Steve. I remember Rocco Ruffalo. He worked for our dealership, the Chevy store, and actually I just talked to him on Facebook. Is he a relative of yours? Yeah, I can tell you a great story about him.
We'll see. Kissy Cat. Fort Lauderdale's fine. Everything's fine in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. They still have the big Easter breaks, the holidays with young kids coming. And for a while, they were down on that. Remember?
Yeah, it's not there anymore. It's up here at Panama City Beach. The spring.
Oh, really?
All the kids come up here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I was there in the 70s,
we get them from Florida State. We get them from FSU. We get them from Virginia. We get them from everywhere they come here.
Yeah. It's wild. Wild.
Oh, it is. Spring break is crazy here.
If he knows Rocco personally, I guess I could tell you a story about Rocco. It's beautiful. Rocco was our number one salesman. He was the best. I go back to the 80s and 90s. And Rocco probably sold number two guy at the dealership, but he liked to gamble, Rocco. He liked to gamble back in the day. He could gamble on 2 cockroaches walking across the showroom. If it's going to rain today, what time the sun coming out. He was that kind of gambler. Well, the one time he goes to the Jewel, Bill Crusoe's there. Okay, yeah. I'm Billy Crusoe. Billy Crusoe, our new car manager at the Chevy store. So Mike Banos is your cousin, your his daughter's husband. So Mike Banos would be like your cousin-in-law. Yeah, Billy's daughter. So they live in Tinley Park, I believe. Maybe you can answer that. Yeah, another good salesman. But Rocco, he went to the Jewel and ordered lobsters. And sold them at the dealership and put it on a charge. Put on Celozzi's charge. It was brutal. Did you ever get the Gold Rush?
Anthony, how you doing, Anthony? No, I never did go to the Gold Rush in Las Vegas.
I've been there.
And I didn't go to the haberdashery over at Circus either.
Who ran that
jewelry
shop?
Agreements. Tony and I had some agreements. We never mixed friendship and business at all.
Yeah. Did you? I bought my diamond from them.
That's what.
Yeah, Marianne. Yeah, Marianne. Yeah, Marianne was Billy's daughter. Nice person. They're still married. Her and Banos. Mike Banos was his. So her name is Marianne Banos, and I believe they live in Tinley Park. They got a child. I think a son. He's got to be about 15 now. Mike's a great guy. Greek, great guy. He moved to Kankakee or Bourbonnais. Was working at Jeff Court Street Ford. Another guy worked for a dealership, and got his own dealership. Back in the, yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's I hope you tell them I said hello, Marianne and Steve. Mike Manos, great guy. He got hurt with the market back in the 80s when the stock market.
Oh yeah.
He was just starting out in it, and he got hurt a little bit. He came in the car business, which was the greatest movie ever made. Car business. He ended up being the top lease guy, super and funny guy. Hey, when you see your Uncle Bill, tell him that I said the up machine. We called him the up machine over there, and because he used to take ups like 20 a day, and he was a good salesman. My dad met him at Sears. He was a Sears, 25 years with Sears selling vacuum cleaners or whatever. My mom went in, and my dad liked him, and he was retiring from Sears in the 70s. And my dad, he came and worked for us from 1976 to 2001. He worked at Celozzi, Bill Crusoe, and he was. I could tell you a story about him. Another guy. We went out one night, Stone Park. Yeah, they scared me. Yeah, it was bad. Him and I was a teenager. I was 18, 19 years old. So they set me up with some girl, Bill, at a hotel, and it was bad. And the manager pounded on the door. I know what you're doing in there. I ran out. I just sat in the room, and they scared me. I was a little kid. I ran out. They saw me running across the parking lot. They're in the car looking, and there I'm running to my car. I said, "Screw you guys." I got scared. What's going on in there? And I was by myself waiting for what did I know? I darted across the parking lot, Stone Park. I should have known that. But Yeah, Bill Rocco Ruffalo. I think he got married. Yeah, Rocco got married, I think, and he worked for us for about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
Okay, let's
something.
get into the Yankee Clipper there.
Okay, everybody
That was
knows
his
Joe
nickname, the
DiMaggio.
Yankee Clipper, right?
Yeah, Joe DiMaggio. Yankee Clipper. Here's to you, Joe DiMaggio. Jesus loves you more than you will know. Joe.
Simon and Garfunkel.
That's right. Well, there's two things you did not ask Joe DiMaggio at that time. This is the 80s. For his autograph, because I think at Top Deck, he would sign if he knew
charged you.
Well,
he charged you for his autograph.
Probably. We just couldn't ask him. My dad, I mean, he did sign stuff for my dad on the side a little bit. Nobody asked him. Or about Marilyn Monroe. You couldn't ask him about Marilyn Monroe.
No. And that was the love of his life.
Love of his life. And I guess he was telling he sends flowers every year to the grave or something, or a rose every day or something like that. You know, he was, I guess he paid for the funeral. Remember at the end?
He never got over it. He never got over it.
Never got over it. That's true.
And he had the body exhumed. He wanted a second autopsy.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and you know, he knew that the boys were controlling her. You knew that. I mean, she got whacked over. She got slapped because he says, I guess he had an idea. It was written in the book that she was sleeping with, you know, whoever. You know, she slept with Sam Giancana 2 weeks before she died. She says it, and she didn't necessarily like it.
She was sleeping with Sam Giancana. She was sleeping with Kennedy.
Well, one time
she really got around.
One time, and it wasn't something she wanted to do. The other ones, maybe she wanted to do those people, but she Joe DiMaggio was in love with her. Okay, in love with her, and at the time, I think he was retired. I think he retired early. He was retired by the time they got married, and when that picture you saw, okay, that's a 2-day thing. That was a Columbus Day parade. Okay,
in Chicago.
Right? In Chicago, my dad was driving, and you see two aldermen next to Joe. I know the names. If it's Rhodey, whoever it was, you'll know their faces when you look at them. The both of them, and that's when Joe DiMaggio told the old man they're driving. That was my dad's car, my dad's Cadillac. They gave that Cadillac to my dad for his birthday.
It doesn't look happy driving it.
No, well, you see the weather. The weather doesn't look like too good of weather there. September. They got that for my dad's birthday in 80. It was 10 years old with 5,000 miles on it. In 85, my dad got it. It was a 70 something, 76 Coupe de Ville convertible that they gave him. You see Lawrence Cadillac on the side of that Cadillac? That was Slow Edelson dealership before it was Slow Edelson. It was called Lawrence. After my brother-in-law, Larry, ran it. And then when they built the new store, they called it Slow Edelson. But get back to Joe DiMaggio. So he tells the old man, and he says, Nick, with hair like that, you should run for office. He had hair down to here, the gray hair, because it was swinging. He goes, they'll vote for you. So he said, on the clear blue. Because you see my dad's driving, and the window, you know, he's got long hair in the back. And my dad thought that was interesting. But then, you know, they had the dinner. I believe they went to Vegas the next day it was either Make-A-Wish Foundation or Italian American Sports Hall, something like that. He was there with, he has a bodyguard. I should say a bodyguard, but he has a guy that drives him. Obviously. What would you call him?
They were bodyguards.
Well, what would you say? Caretaker, probably, more or less? Because he's old. Probably right. But he was very adamant. My dad told me 3 times, do not ask him about it, because he knows I have a mouth, right? The old man. Don't, with your wisecrack crack, you know, saying something. Don't do it. Okay? Wow.
Larry C. says he signed a ball for me at Chicago Sports Show at Rosemont Convention Center in 1988. Joe barely looked up as he signed it.
Hey, you know, I wonder if that was in 88. That because he probably maybe was in town for that too. And that could have been.
It could have been.
Maybe scheduled both of them. More or less, he would have. That would be smart. Yeah, I know it was Columbus Day, and we went to. I met them at. Was it Gennadi's? Was it a restaurant? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I met them. There's a picture with also Tommy Lasorda was there. Tommy Lasorda was in the picture too. Yeah, personal assistant. There you go.
He had a personal assistant. The crowd says he had a personal assistant.
Yeah, and I met the guy too. It was a guy, and he was a nice guy, older man, like sort of an older guy. Yeah, he sat with the old man talking very quiet, and I believe the guy stood next to him. He was actually sitting next to him, actually stood behind him. If somebody came to talk to him, he would get up or something. But he's right about looking down. He didn't. He was. I would imagine his 80s. That picture probably in his 80s, probably early 80s.
Oh yeah,
because my dad was probably 56 in that picture, something like that. Yeah, 57, I would imagine. So Joe DiMaggio's got to be, he's got to be probably 80, over 80 years old. He looks frail when you see him. When I talk to him, he doesn't look very, he's got a schnoz on him, of course, but he doesn't look. He didn't look very happy. And
no.
This was true. I asked my dad. I said, "Listen, I'm going to take a picture with him." He goes, "No." What do you mean? No. He goes, "They're going to be taking pictures. If you want to get behind us, no. Don't ask him to stand up." And I go, "Why not?" He goes, "Have you asked
selfies?"
Right. Well, he said, "Okay, you've been around him for a day or a half. Have you seen one picture with somebody taking a picture with him?" Or no. I go like this. I go, "You're right. Not one person, right?" Now, is that a little weird? Why would
he used to do it, Joe? But he used to have, charge people. If you want an autograph, you want a picture taken with him, he used to charge you.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened with a lot of sports people? They start doing that because people are making money off them, so they start charging. And they for a while, baseball, they didn't want to sign unless you're a little kid.
Pete Rose did the same thing,
but he oversigned Pete Rose. He was every convention. They get money. I don't know how much they get, but I had a guy that used to do the conventions at Rosemont every year.
How you doing, Gabby? Good to see you too.
Gabby, how you doing? So get back to Joe. Well, when we went to, I think it was Vegas that year, that was with Jack Brickhouse, Harry Carey, Joe DiMaggio, Tommy Lasorda, and I think Mike Piazza. He just came with the Yankee, the catcher. He was the catcher.
They must have taken a bus.
Yeah, well, I don't know how they came. But, that's what Tommy Lasorda became the MC for the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. He became the MC. And the guy from Coca-Cola was involved too, the donation. I met,
Larry said he paid $75 for it back in 1988.
Wow. Wait a minute, that much? Oh, my God. Really?
For an autographed picture.
Yeah, and he signed a picture of my dad, and it's funny because but now remember he was in twice, and it was one thing he signed for my dad. It was one thing. Normally we get a couple things now. Tommy Lasorda is very nice. Tommy, he signed a lot, but at the time I think Tommy's son was dying of AIDS. Spanky, he had a son in L.A. He died of AIDS. Yeah, he was flaming, he looked like a woman, and Sparky. Or Sparky, I think. And Tommy stayed at my dad's house when he came in sometimes. He slept at my dad's house. Great guy, Tommy Lasorda. He was friends with Van Patten's. Remember 8 is Enough? Dick Van Patten, or the little guy? Yeah. They're both from New York, and Van Patten's got the son that was on, he's a tennis player, Vince, for years, top 10. But Lasorda, he was involved with the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame with Randazzo. But I think he died after that. The unique thing about it, I was told 50 times, don't ask him nothing. Don't sit with him. Because I like to maneuver a little bit, Goes, "How you doing, Joe?" And he knew I was Nick's son, but he never made a point to look at me or smile or nothing. I was right there. I mean, he didn't look down. Look, he was mad. Probably mad and tired. But so they had him in the parade. So the city of Chicago had him in the back. So that's the picture. Yeah, Tommy.
This is interesting. Christopher Men, DiMaggio, $100 for a signed picture back in the early 80s or mid 80s. Didn't tip the staff at the hotel.
I believe it.
Where we worked. It was cheap.
Yeah. Well, autographs now, unless they're checked out and you got them, because of all the phony signatures, Oh, I believe it.
Larry, his is worth $1,000 now. He paid $75 for it. $75 back in '88. It's worth $1,000 now.
Sure. Remember the guy that went to jail? That was signing all those autographs in Chicago? He could duplicate Jordans, everybody. Remember that? He got 3 years for it. Yeah. And it's, the deal with the Bulls were, let's talk about autograph signing in baseball. They were the baseball players, everybody's got their own little niche. Hockey players are very friendly. They'll sign. football players sort of, but the worst ones out of all of them, I think the baseball players become bad. They became bad because of the money being made. They saw what they're getting. That was the problem. And then everybody was making big money. So the whole idea of signing something for a little kid to take home for his desk, they were sending little kids in there for autographs. Yeah, some of the guys. It's
The
true.
crowd's got me laughing. This guy's got a sense of humor. My autograph, $2 will get you a cup of coffee.
I wonder what I get for my autograph.
The crowd sent me. His name is Bill Kirschmeyer, but he sent me this model car, and the reason he sent it to me was because I had one just like it, and I dumped it in Lake Michigan way back when, and he heard about it. And he sent me the model car.
Now,
good guy, great guy.
Is that the ones you buy at the dealership? Every year they come out new model in a box, Chevy, Ford, and you can. You know what I'm talking about? Those ones.
He made this just for me.
Wow, talented.
And everything's on the inside. Everything's accurate. It's all the steering wheel, whatever. It's all there. I mean, it's a model of my old GTO.
Yeah, I had 2 balls from the Dream Team '92. I had 3 championship balls from the Bears. I had Notre Dame when they won with Casper and Joe Theismann, or Montana. I had the ball signed by the team. My dad bought it at silent auction. I had the Indy 500 with all 42 racers plus the auxiliary signed by everybody. It was an auction. My dad bought it. I used to get a lot of stuff, unique stuff. My dad used to buy at auctions for years. And stupid me, I played with it when I was younger. I didn't care. My dad's got.
I lost a lot of stuff during the hurricane, but I had a football that was signed by Jim McMahon, and he gave me his starter jacket. There's no signature on it, but I lost it during the hurricane back here in 2018.
Wow. That's. I mean, my dad has I should probably. Maybe I could give this away. I'm going to talk to my dad. He has a VHS. Okay. I could do that.
A signed photograph of your dad is a giveaway.
You know what? I should probably get Maury. Try to get Maury to sign it before he dies. That would be unique. Because Maury never signed anything.
How about a picture with both of them where they both have signatures on it?
Yeah, I could definitely get the old man. And I do have tons of 8x10s. One day I'll show you in the corner here. I got every ad from 1968. I have 35 years of ads every day, and any write about my dad. He kept everyone. You look at it, he put it in a big Winslow, black. I got these things, so I'm going to put together something for him. But I'll definitely get the old man to sign it. And Maury, I'd have to give it to Michael Edelson, and he can bring it to his dad.
We'll use it for a giveaway on a question.
And you know what? You're right, Red. And what I could do too, Red, is I do have some memorabilia, old Celozzi stuff. I'll get something like that signed too with it, like the shakers. And that I could do. That's not a problem. And I told you I would do the T-shirts too. I just trying to get. I got somebody to give me some ideas. And Adam said from Solar Mark Energy Solutions that he's going to give away a hoodie. It's like a sweatshirt once a month for a nice one. And it says, if you're thinking of going solar, if not, you probably should. And Solar Mark Energy. So he's going to give away a little thing. And we can put our little name, the Red and Joe Show. I mean, right now I'm on your, it's on your thing, but it's coming that we can be like a dual thing.
Gabby likes the picture in the background.
You like that? Now, Gabby, you know the story, right? Gabby, I was looking through Facebook and a lady was selling it. I could not believe it. That was in our showroom for 10 years when you walked in. It was standing up high. It's my dad's height. Hey, Sean. And it got lost. Who knows? This lady said she bought it at a silent auction for $65 or $75, and she's selling it for the same price. I called her. She lives in Oakport. And I said, hey, this is Joe Celozzi. And I'm obviously checking on that thing you're selling. She goes, yeah, Joe. And I said, how about you just give it to me? I'll throw you $20. She said, no. I want the money I paid for it. I go, you're going to charge me?
That's only fair. That's only fair.
I said, but you're going to charge me She says, "Hey," I said, "I'll take it. I'll be there tomorrow." Because I didn't want it. Where you gonna? It was my dad said, Where'd you get that?" I said, "Dad, it was on a showroom floor for years, and it was when the actual it's." And then somebody made this here. It's a sketch of my dad. See that? It's his face.
Yeah.
This picture right there. Okay. It says
It's a little fake, but I can see it.
Yeah, it said, a Chance for Children Foundation, Man of the Year, 1990. So, and I told you he donated over 200 cars for charity, 200 from the beginning. Yeah, and then as far as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I read the best one was, talk about autographs, he has a thing signed. Him, Harry Carey, Mike Dicka, my dad, Jack Brickhouse, I believe, they rented a plane O'Hare, and they put the children that were dying, terminal, and they had Christmas. It was in July, and they
Make a wish.
And they put them on this plane, right? It was at a park, and they started the plane, and they had a video, like the plane taking off, and they close the sides, and the plane shaking, right? And they think they're going, okay. So about 10 minutes, they had little things on there, like little elves giving us something. Okay, we're landing, and Santa Claus came up in the airplane, right? That's nice, right? And they're jumping up and down, and they knew what the kids wanted, obviously, and so they rented the plane. The Ford paid for it, and they got their gifts with big money.
Great.
So the enjoyment for that's huge. So the man goes, "I loved it. I got more thrill out of it than they did." He goes, that to me, and they all liked it. Mike, they all liked that, that kind of stuff. They're happy.
Who doesn't like kids?
Yeah, and that's what Harry Carey said. "Nick, I'm Italian." Half the time, whatever. He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Carina." If you Google his last name was C-A-R. Yeah, he goes, "My dad never knew that." He goes, "Yeah, Nick." And he goes, "Have a Coors Light." He goes, "I can't." He said, because he was getting paid. If somebody takes a picture without that Budweiser, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could not even have it in his hand or near him, right? Because it would screw up his old.
Hey, if they're paying him not to, they're paying him not to.
And I don't know how much money he got, but nice guy, Harry Carey. But he was a nice guy. He came by. Another guy, if I tell you, remember Ray Meyer, DePaul, the coach of DePaul, the DePaul basketball? Ray Meyer coached for 30 years for DePaul basketball, 60s, 70s, and 80s. He retired. Ray Meyer, he was a basketball coach, and his son took over where he left off. And he drove a car from us when he was retired. And
I never followed basketball.
Yeah, I didn't. But he was Ray Meyer was Bobby Knight of Indiana. Ray Meyer, not the way they coached, but that big of a personality. Okay, Ray Meyer, DePaul Blue Team, DePaul, and I think he won under them. I think, but that was we didn't even give cars to famous. We gave cars to people not necessarily. Look at Ray Meyer, he was retired. I remember Ray loved the teams. Yeah, there you go, Ray Meyer, great coach for basketball. And I don't know if he coached. Remember the two guys that got drafted, 1 and 2. Remember the big fiberglass bear in the showroom? Yeah, Thomas. Was that Lincoln Mercury? That was Elmer's Ford, Lincoln on York Road. Yeah, I know exactly.
On York Road, yeah.
Yeah, Myzinga. That's Tommy Myzinga. That's how you say that. Yeah, Myzinga. I don't know if he's still there. And let me see. Do you remember that Tommy Myzinga owned the sports bar on Spring Road? That guy there owned a sports bar on Spring Road for 20 years, right down the street from my dad's restaurant, Nicky's, my dad's French restaurant, the one he had there for years. That guy there owned. This is now in the 70s, so it was like the hot place to go. All college kids. That was the place to go, right off of Spring Road. It was Myzinga owned it. Yep.
You know what we're going to wind up doing? We're going to wind up saying Red and Joe reminisce about the old days.
Yeah, I want to go back to mafia stuff. I just, again, I never wanted to be like. I enjoy that talking about it. One is they're gone. I would never, if they were still alive. I don't think there'd be a forum for it, really. No. Remember, it's a different climate now. Everybody talks about it.
Things have changed.
Yeah. I had more of, he's connected more than I'm not. And it was more the other way. And I didn't go around as I said before on the shows, I didn't think that was really. First of all, when they were so bad, I was too young. Number one, even in the 80s, I was like a kid, so there was nothing. My problem was hanging with them. That's all.
Yeah.
They hang with straight people. I would go out to drinks with Rocco Lombardo. Him, he's black belt, Rocco. I don't know if you knew that. Lombardo. He's karate.
I do.
You knew.
I did.
There he is.
The Truth. How you doing, buddy?
The Truth. I want to find. Oh, I know which guy checked on.
The Truth hides behind his name. He's really somebody that you have no idea who he is.
Only the truth knows. The Truth.
Yeah.
No, you have a certain cult here. I
won't out you on the show, buddy.
I don't want to call it a cult, but I promise you, I'm pretty good with people and understanding. You have not weird people. They have this love for you. It's something that it's worse than Donald Trump's people. It's worse than the Magna. Like they just regardless. Somebody new comes in, fuck them. And I know because the first day they loved me. Oh, because they saw that you like me. They're reading you. Look at Joe. Then they saw we were late. I wasn't there. The guy's talking 10. He thinks he's David Lee Roth. Was wannabe rich guy, never worked a day in his life. So then it turned on me a little bit. And then we started doing the right thing. And then it swung. So it was like a tidal wave. I was happy for a day. I was suicidal the next time. And then I leveled off because now everybody, but that's not normal. I mean, you got to, it's weird.
We got a good compliment here from the crowd. Movies will never be as accurate as you two men.
Wow, look at that. Is that a good one? Yeah.
Yeah.
The movies will never be as accurate as YouTube. Well, as we said, right here, the reason it attracted me to you, attracted me to this site was you're straight. Wait, you're straight and you're truthful. I mean, I can't stand, let's be honest.
I say it like it is.
All these other people, and you know as well as I do, 70% is bullshit. And these mob, you and I talked about it. And even, I don't want to say it about Frank Collada. I didn't know him. My brother knew him from going there. But remember, my brother was there in 81. Things were on the way down already. Remember? He was already in trouble, Tony. 81, 82. He had problems. Michael got indicted a couple times for credit card stuff. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, so they already had their problems.
Oh, yeah.
All that.
Anthony has a question here. Do you know if Governor Lombardo is related to Joe Lombardo? I certainly do. He's not related. But I did send him a campaign, the governor of Nevada. I did send him a campaign contribution. I wanted to see him get in. But he's not related to Joe or the Lombardo family or Joe Lombardo at all.
That's a comment.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah. I was telling you about what's his name? Francis Ford Coppola. Only 12 likes come on, folks. Hey, listen.
Come on, guys. If you're coming in here, just show some love. I need to
if we got over 1,000 likes today and I paid everybody $1,000 who put likes on, we'd have 1 million people. I mean, it's amazing what motivates people. I mean, if Adam's out there, if you think of going solar, if not, you probably should call Adam at Solar Mark Energy. Listen, I want to give away one of those sweatshirts, and he's got a nice color. And I will talking about shirts. I do have a couple. I got to show you, Red, because I want to run things through you. Any kind of marketing. I know. Well, I saw your little mug you have. That's great. But we can open up a little shop. We don't have to buy nothing. We open up, and I want to do it cheap. We're not here to make money off people. I mean, we got to make.
No.
We got to get paid for the product and cover our costs, and that's it. I don't have to. We don't have to make any kind of money.
No.
I mean, let's wait till the second year, then we gouge them. No, I hit the. Oh, look at that, Bruce City. I didn't smoke cigarettes until I started talking to you on this. No. Hey, I did quit. I'm drinking Red Graham. No, but getting back to Francis Ford Coppola signed a VHS Godfather. There's a book, The Godfather. He signed it, and 2 VHS Godfather 1 and 2.
Was it the Epic where they had
my dad,
2 of them together?
Yeah, he signed them. He signed the actual tapes. He signed the book. He put 2 Nick. I was trying to sell it about 3 years ago. I probably got pictures somewhere. It's in a nice little thing.
Somebody's got a VHS machine. You got to convert that to digital.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but he gave it to him like as a gift, Right. So look how low that was in the 80s then, probably. Sure. It was the early 80s. He got there because he was at Hoagie's. That picture with Francis Ford Coppola, the picture, I don't know if I showed you with the beard, he was at Hoagie's with Michael. He was at dinner with Michael and my
Michael
dad.
Spilaccio.
Yeah.
For the
Michael
people that
Spilaccio.
don't know, I throw in the last name.
No, you should. And they know that Nicolas Cage's last name is Coppola. You know that, right? That's his uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage's real name is Coppola. And Talia Shire, Rocky, Adrian, that's Francis Ford Coppola's sister. That's why she was in Godfather, played Sonny's, remember? He played Al
brought his
Pacino's
whole
sister.
family in.
That's right.
He brought his whole family into show business.
That's true. And his daughter is doing the Elvis movie now, Elvis and Me. The one that played, she was in Godfather 3. Remember that? And what did they do in that movie? Let's see how smart you're. Smart. They showed the character dating the first cousin.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah, Andy Garcia. And remember? That was his first cousin.
I think that was Sonny's illegitimate son.
But still, but it's a cousin. It's a cousin. Right? So that's their first cousins. But here, and I'll tell you why they put that in there. And I'm not a racist because I'm half Sicilian. Okay. And I know this for a fact. The Sicilians would go out with their cousins. They did. Back in the day, I know 4 Sicilian guys that were, I don't want to say anything, but they were fooling out with their cousins in high school. It's fact, yeah. I would never think of that.
It was like they wanted to stay with their own. They didn't want to marry outside the family.
Yeah, they didn't marry him, but they would fool around with him. I would never think about fooling around with my first cousin. That wouldn't even come to my mind, right?
I wouldn't either.
No, but it's happened. Why Sicilians? The Muslims do it, But why did they show the movie? My question to you, Red, why would they show that was a character, and they showed them falling in love, and Al Pacino was not happy about it. Your cousin, his daughter is dating,
No.
And he didn't like it because Garcia was sort of fighting it back. They're family. But why do you have to put that in there? There's a reason for that, right? They made a big thing out of it. Remember, he made it.
We understood, Julie. We understood. No mistake, Julie. Good to see you.
What did she say? I mean, Joe. She meant.
Earlier, she said, hello. Here, I'll put it up.
What's your last name? Moretti?
Julie?
Your last name, Moretti?
No, Julie. She's a friend of mine on Facebook.
Yeah, but look at the name. Murr. See it? She has her last name on there.
She is. Her name is Murray.
Murray, okay.
Her last.
That's I see. I was gonna say, is that Moretti? Because Dr. Moretti, he had the clinics in Chicago, and the one cop got killed. Moretti's. They were.
Oh yeah.
In the city, yeah. And but yeah, Francis Ford Coppola put that in there, and my question was, why? Well, that was the thing they did. They dated their first cousins. I'm not saying they married them, but they dated them.
He wanted to bring the reality into the movie.
So then that's a big reality. You put that in there, and remember that was in '92. That was in '92 when that Godfather. That was the last movie my dad ever went to. He walked out of it. The last one, he didn't like it. I thought it was okay. I did. I mean, I liked all the Godfathers, but I don't know why Francis Ford Coppola. Maybe he was at Hoagie's talking to Michael. Who knows back then? But he was having dinner, and actually my dad didn't know him. Michael invited my dad. Come on, we'll sit with him, have dinner with us. There's H.
Hello, world. Long time, buddy. Hope you're well. Thank you.
It just came to my mind about Joe DiMaggio. We're talking about Italians. We're talking about Joe DiMaggio was against the he did not like them. Joe DiMaggio in the movie about their marriage and all that, he was not for all of them. He didn't like those kind of people. And they knew that back then they traded baseball players and sports. They were in there back in the 40s. So he did not like them. And so it was like he was the Italian that worked hard, and he wanted to. Joe DiMaggio made $100,000 a year back then.
Yeah, but he worked for it.
He worked for it. He still got the record, right? How many hits in a row? 56 or 60? Oh, yeah, he had the continuous hits. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I didn't like about him, and I said it before, and I'm going to say it again, is the fact that he punched her. He hit her around. He slapped her. He actually hurt her because she put that in her biography that the movie couldn't even be in that part that day. She had to wait till she healed her black eyes. And I didn't realize he gave her a Pagliad. We call that in Italian now. Red Pagliad means. I don't think that was necessary. I mean, he knew what he got. No. She was. What happened to all those recordings?
Anthony says, "What happened to all those recordings that you did? Is that all the government? Is that all government property? All of it is, but some of it, I had tapes that they wanted me to review before going to court, and I found them accidentally, and so I gave them to Adam Flowers out of Movlog out in Vegas. I flew out there and gave them to him.
How come nobody did a movie on you? You would think somebody would have came and tried to put some kind of movie. It's a good story.
I had somebody approach me from Netflix, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to sell me because they wanted to change everything around. That was way back in, that was 2017.
I mean, you're right. We talked about the name of the book. You're right. I mean, that's that's great. I mean, there's a lot of drama.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Yeah. And that's even better because it shows you, well, that was back then. Nobody cared. Nowadays they would care. I think did you hear about when they were blasting Sammy the Bull and the family members? The family members were, and he straightened them out. He said, wait a minute. Your father, your brother, your uncle, whoever you're for, they were killers too. They were no angels here. And they didn't get whacked. No. It happened to be those people for no reason. I was ordered to do it. In other words, I'm not saying it was right or wrong. They were on the other end many times too doing the same thing. So don't be, I guess he put them in jail. No, those are part of the 18 murders he did. When they found out, that's when they started blasting him. See? Do you see how your cult is? Right away, she's your number one fan.
Yeah. Julia, she's a great gal.
She met her from day one. Amongst others.
She was a nurse. She lives in the Midwest, and we talk on the phone occasionally.
Yeah, see, you got that way about you. You're like I tell you, I'm not saying Jones, the guy that took all those people in Africa.
Kissy Cat, the Mob Museum doesn't want anything to do with me. They won't even let me sell my book there.
No way.
No, they don't want anything to do with me at all. Well, because I was a mole for the FBI and basically an informant.
Well, okay, but don't they have some of the people that busted those guys? Don't they have some of their memorabilia? Like, is there at the museum? Like, I thought they.
Kraut knows it right here because.
Yeah. I mean,
unless I can have creative control over it.
They'd want to spice it up. It would be true. Obviously, they'd want to make it. You don't like that.
I didn't like what they proposed.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that for sure. I know you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they probably went a little too much the other way.
Yeah, it just they get, especially when they get into their series and they do a series. What do we do now? Let's make this more impressive. My life was impressive enough. I don't have to make up stuff.
But as we talked about before, and it goes with everybody, how many guys that were look at Johnny DeFranza, look at Jimmy I, all right, my Ayupa's guy, okay, they all had their little thing they did. So look at the Grim Reaper from New York, 23 years that guy got indicted at the agent. He beat it in court. He was letting him kill people. He goes, I asked him if he killed him. He said no. You knew he did. He goes, I didn't condone it or was aware of it. So that's it. I thought it failed, the Mob Museum. I thought it failed.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment.
Yeah.
I've never been in the Mob Museum. Even though I've been out there, I won't go in there.
But I thought it failed. Was there two different ones? Was there one at a hotel, Red, that failed? Or wasn't I thought that back in the 80s they opened one up. Is that the same one?
They just bought a bigger building. That's all.
Okay. So I was half right.
And
so
more investors.
Okay. Who owns that? Somebody? Yeah, somebody individually owns that. Probably.
There's a group of people that own it.
Yeah, and they weren't doing very well, supposedly.
No.
I saw a big thing on it. They had the mayor over there. That guy was Mr. Goodman or whatever, Goldman, whatever the guy's name was, the lawyer who became the mayor. He's like he wants to be a mobster. He's talking about he drinks every night and he talks about all the old stories. I think he played himself in the movie Casino. Right? Yeah. In the movie Casino, he was the lawyer. He did play himself.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that motherfucker. He went right in there, didn't he? Who wants to be in there, right? What does that tell you?
Hey, they approached him.
Right.
They approached him and said, and he said, you want to use my name? Use my face.
Was that true that Frank and Lefty both got $75,000 apiece for that movie Casino? That's all they got. Was that true?
How much?
$75,000 apiece. That was it. Lefty and Frank Colada got 75 for his.
Lefty got far more than that.
Okay.
Lefty got a big chunk of change.
Yeah, somebody said
the guy that didn't get the big money was Frank Colada. He never got the big. He didn't get a big payout on that.
Did you hear what he said when he talked about how he told those guys when they're on the set? He sort of like was a bully. He goes, it's not the right way. You hear about? He said it himself. Did you? Yeah. I laughed a little bit. He had chairs. He goes, my chair was right next to Scorsese.
But it didn't have my name on it.
That's right. Yeah. See, a little cocky motherfucker. When I saw that, I didn't know he did. I didn't know he did work. I didn't know that he killed. I never heard that about him.
I never heard that either.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything, but from my understanding, because just whatever, I never heard that.
He wasn't good at it. I'll tell you that much.
No. And I heard from other people that they're doing a legitimate wise guy. My brother. Now, obviously, he has a character in there. Obviously, my brother's movie, Legitimate Wise Guy, right? And so somebody's playing him in the movie, right? Obviously, whoever the crew, Lurch and all them. And my understanding, because I asked, this is about 2 years ago, that he didn't, that they know of, that he was involved in any murder. He's not no alleged. So I don't know why he would come. Well, of course he came up. Maybe he just was
involved in it, but indirectly, he was a thief. But Tony told him to do it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I had an argument with somebody about make him a made man. They didn't make him like in New York. The Chicago just took you out for dinner.
Frank killed two guys. Okay, Scott H. He killed two guys.
In the movie?
No, in real life. Yeah. In real life.
Oh, he did. Okay, he did.
Yeah, but
what do they say?
He screwed up the one. He shot him in the head like I don't know how many times. He emptied his pistol. He wound up strangling him. And if he didn't have his man come in that was driving for him and help him, that guy'd still be living.
and what does Sammy the Bull say? Anybody involved in a murder, if they're driving, lookout, shooting, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all the same, right? Who sets the appointment up?
Yeah.
Who picks the guy up? It's then this guy pulls the trigger. It's everybody involved. He's right. So, he might have been on those too.
And he set up the Eminem murders. Those guys from Eminem. Tony went to him and said, "Were you with him? Were you with him? Because if you weren't, you don't tell me the truth. Because if you were with him, And he said no. And he said, "Well, you better find out who it was." So he gave him the name.
Yeah, and so he would be involved in that murder. Those two, he's considered.
They never charged him.
No, but in a way, he's sort of, I guess. I didn't. When I heard about him. Those guys, like we talked about, Tony was there in 71. He was there for a while, and he was there when Vegas was small, back then, when Elvis was playing there,
Oh, yeah.
And that's when Frank.
Hold on a second. Michael Hacker, he helped kill someone with a bomb. Yes, he did. And that was with Mikey Switek. And there was a mistake when they did that video, because he mentioned Mike Bushelhead, he called him. He mentioned Mike, and I knew Mike. Yeah. And when he mentioned that, Adam had to edit it out because thank God he didn't say it on a live.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It's you don't see too many. Somebody asked me how many mob movies you think there are out there. I'm talking about old ones, new ones. From Casino to Godfather to Scarface to Bronx Tale. To whatever.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. I would have to say
but it's entertainment. It's entertainment. That's not all accurate.
No, I mean, I'm talking about back to the 30s. With the big cars with the machine. I would have to say there's over 20 of them, 25. If you want to talk about, there's all different kind of.
There's more than 25.
Maybe 50. Maybe 50. You're right.
It's always been a fascination to the public.
Yeah, and it's and I think the main reason is because they weren't like crazy cartels. They blew up families. They were disciplined killers for the most part. They killed. You know what I mean? It was like they were quiet, secretive. I guess they became flashy.
Julie, it's very funny, and I'll say it now, but it's an interesting fact that a lot of people that I knew called him Frankie Four Eyes because he had Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah.
And then in his later life, he had LASIK surgery, and he didn't need the glasses. He only needed reading glasses. And the reason I wear glasses is because of the bright screen. The bright screen gets me all the time. I spend a lot of time on the computer.
He's like a bull. He's a thick guy when he's young. Tough.
Here's a good point. Larry Seaborn brings up a very good point here. All the way back to Jimmy Cagney.
No, yeah.
Top of the world, Ma.
Yeah, that was my dad's favorite.
Edward G. Robinson, all of them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Scarface was the name Scarface was after Capone, not Scarface.
Oh, yeah.
Like Al Pacino. Yeah. So Scarface was I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Little Al Pacino in this movie Assassination. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting seeing all these guys. And again, they're getting up in age, and not the younger guys. So this would be a good. If David Mamet makes the call, you're in the movie. Let's be honest. If the director wants you, Martin Scorsese, he can get ask anybody he wants, and they usually will follow. Because the director has control, creative control in a way. So they know that if they go in his movie, he's gonna let them whatever kind of actor. I like Don Rickles in Casino.
I did a video about when I actually met Don Rickles.
How was he?
He beat me up on the stage.
He's my favorite guy, the funniest guy I think ever.
This was back in 1968. I went out to Las Vegas for Jimmy Couture, and he paid for the trip. And Don brought me up on stage. Well, I talked to him off stage, and he was the same person in his regular life that he was on stage.
Yeah,
it was just a character.
And
I heckled him from the audience. And he just, man, they put the spotlight on me. They said people to bring me up on the stage. It was quite a trip. And I had a kink in my cheek. I don't know if you noticed, I got a kink when I laughed too much, but I had a kink in my cheek and I couldn't even talk. And every time he had the microphone, he put it in front of my face and then he pulled it back so nobody could hear me. And he said, "Oh, you think you want to be in business or you want to be in show business?" And he put the mic down on the stage. He walked off to the side and these spotlights are on me. I was looking out there and said, "How do I get out of this?" So I went back to my seat and they escorted me down the stage and I got back to my seat. When I did, he said, "How do you like show business?" I didn't say one word. I kept my mouth shut.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He's my favorite. And nothing was written. It was all off his head. He didn't plan nothing. He was that brilliant. And he at the end, he always apologized. He wished health and nothing.
Oh, that's like the time he did the same thing to Frank Sinatra. He goes over to Sinatra and he says, "Look, I'm trying to impress this girl." And so he says, "That's a true story." So he says, I'm trying to impress this girl. And he says, when we go by, say something to her like we're good friends. And so he says, "Okay, I'll take care of it." He goes by and he says, "Hey, Don, how you doing?" Sinatra says to him.
Yeah.
And he turns around and says, "I haven't got time for you."
Can't you see Frank I'm busy? Can't you see Frank I'm busy? Yeah. He says, "Can't you see Frank I'm busy right now?" Yeah. He lost his son. He outlived his son.
Oh, yeah.
He had 2 children. His daughter's a comedian. I thought, honestly, I just thought he was the best. Elvis Presley loved him. Elvis would go to shows, and Don Rickles would bring Elvis up on stage. And Elvis
you couldn't help him laugh. Every time he had an act, you couldn't help it.
You know what Elvis did? The ball bust him. He brings Elvis on stage. Elvis had a Bible with him. He starts reading the Bible. So now Don's listening to him, and Elvis keeps going for 5 minutes. And Don goes, "Elvis, are we done?" And he keeps reading it. And everybody's laughing. Just read the Bible. That was like his little skit. And I think Don Rickles was telling the story. I thought that was funny, And the wise guys, when they came to Vegas, because of Joe Esposito being that Frank worked for Tony Centracchio, they would see Elvis. He got him in back. Well, all the wise guys to see Elvis. That's true. A badge of honor. Unlike what's his other name? I get no respect. Roddy Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Now he was Jewish. Both, right? That's not his real name.
They're all Jewish.
I know, but the Roddy
Jewish comedians, and they were
Did
good.
you know when they did the movie Caddyshack? True story, right? He gets to the movie set. Now it's raining that day, and they check in or whatever. He walks in the director's office. He pulls out a bag of Coke, puts it on the table, right, and snorts right in front of him. He goes, "This is how I'm going to roll." I swear to God, everybody was so fucked up on the movie, drinking, drunk. You have to see it, and the fighting and everything. It was one big party. I mean, Rodney was out of control. They said it was. He had that 3-pitcher deal. He had Easy Money, Caddyshack, and he had Back to School, which was with Paulie.
That was good. I like that movie, Back to School.
Yeah, I got no respect. That guy got busted in the. He was 84 years
old.
The
Lindy. He did his dive. The Lindy. His name was Linderman or something like
Lindy.
that.
Yeah, the half Lindy.
Yeah.
Hey, he got caught smoking weed at the hospital in the bathroom in his room. He was smoking weed, and I laughed. I thought that was funny, And he married that beautiful young girl, the blonde. I mean, she must have been 30 years younger than him, but a nice guy. And he got discovered late in life. He was 50. Johnny Carson put him on there.
Yeah.
And then he discovered Jim Carrey at that club in L.A. So all the new comedians, he got a lot of guys started, but funny guy. I mean, I thought he was another one. Back to School, ignorant comedy, like just slap right in your face. Oh, I got no respect. Like I came home last night, my wife, and the dog, and I mean, he had a unique delivery. Nobody liked that. And then Don Rickles was the opposite. He would go right for you hard, like insult you, like.
Oh, he'd attack you, man.
Right. If you couldn't talk right, you did Johnny Carson, remember? But Johnny Carson did a lot of blow. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
You ever know, I knew that. Do you know that watch him sometimes?
He had a heart attack young in life.
Well, that I didn't realize that when you went to his house. I heard this from somebody that was at his house back in the late 70s. He would have a mirror with your name engraved, like Joe. He would have a J, and he had the Coke in the crease in there, and they would pass it around. Yeah,
it was etched. It was etched.
That's right. And if you watch him, you could tell he goes, you can see he's a little bit, a nerve. You can just tell. And I heard, and it's not that fake story about. Remember the one with the gerbil with Richard Gere and the one with Jagger, all those things. I found out a couple of those. They put stories out. If they got in a fight back in the day in Hollywood, they would say a story like that and have it, and it would catch wind, and those kind of stories. Crowd family.
It was a business class.
When Thornton was in business.
It was funny.
Yeah. And
Crowd, you're right. Cocaine equals poison.
That's true.
But I never did any.
I did a little bit back in the day, but I had my moment. But the old man, 25 years old, he pulled my legs out, and I was on. Everybody came to me. You have a problem? Yeah. I mean, it was the point where, the old man says, So I got scared. I got scared young, and people were dying. They call it recreational drug. No, it's easy. It's not addicting. Another lie. Of course, it's addicting. Of course, it's not good for your health. Red, glad to see you okay.
Thank you, Goff. I'm doing fine.
What would you do if a hurricane hits you? Do you have anywhere to go? Let's say it comes to you.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when the hurricane hit me in 2018, I lost my house, everything. I was down on YouTube. I was down on, for like months. We had no cell towers. We had no
Wow.
All the telephone poles for hundreds of miles around me. The telephone poles were down. The trees snapped.
Where'd you hide?
It was a disaster.
Where did you hide? In the ground?
Not in a good place. I took my mother. I grabbed my mother, and I went to a hunting lodge. I had a hunting lodge in Sumatra at that time.
Yeah.
And I took her to the hunting lodge, and what happens is in the middle of the woods, one of the trees broke and fell on the lodge, and we were pinned in there. We were pinned in the lodge for over 24 hours, laying down there. And then the helicopter came over, and we got rescued and went to Tallahassee Regional.
What's the worst? The Tommy, what was the worst in the last 30 years hit Florida? Which name? Which one of the worst ones that destroyed?
Last 30 years?
Yeah, the last 30 years.
The worst hurricane that ever hit that did the most damage was in 1992, and that was Andrew, Hurricane Andrew.
Right.
That was a Cat 5 also, Category 5.
But
also the one in 2018, we didn't expect that. It was a Category 2. All of a sudden, it was a Category 5. I'm right by Tyndall Air Force Base, and they pinged out at 182 mile-an-hour winds.
Whoa. Whew.
It was bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to. What was it? What's one? They were leaving the state, weren't they? Everybody was driving.
I should have.
Okay,
but it didn't do any good because the damn thing went all the way up into Georgia. It was bad.
What happens? I was going to ask you, those islands, right? All the islands that get hit, and then 3 years they get hit again. How do they ever recover?
I don't know. I've asked people that live off of South Carolina, North Carolina.
Yeah.
On the Great Barrier Islands.
Yeah.
I asked them, why do they rebuild? Because FEMA pays them to rebuild every year.
Yeah. And that's when the insurance companies required you. Remember, insurance. They wanted that. What was it called?
Insurance.
That's right.
They can't get insurance.
Right. That's right. They got killed. They got hit big time.
For 3 years, I couldn't get insured.
Really? The old words are supposed to be 85% are not supposed to use it. If they don't make money, unless it's a 10% or 15% of everybody. So if you have, 1,000 people, take 15%, 150 off that, and then 85, 80 or 50 don't use it. It's the 15 that use it. When those things, they get hurt. Billions, right? But they're still
Joe, when do you want to come back? Do you want to come back on the show?
Yeah, of course. You know what? I'm getting comfortable now, and I could see that this is my future. And I said I'm going to be thanking you. I'm going to be. You know what? Here, everybody likes so much that Adam from Solar Mark Energy. I'm going to have the Solar Mark Energy studio here, like United Center, like Allstate Arena. I'm going to have Solar Mark at my little thing. He's going to get me a microphone. I'm going to have Nick and Maury dolls behind me, and we'll start giving away some stuff. You got this cult. You got a weird. Yeah, and I appreciate everybody. And we will talk. I talked to my brother, and he will be on with the next 2 times. He'll call in. He can Zoom. He has a computer. He said, you can bring me in if he has to. So
okay.
He's been out of town a lot, and obviously with this new movie, he goes.
He's working.
But he thought I'd want him the whole hour, like a half hour. I said, no, just come in for a minute, say hello, and give everybody an idea. And as I told you, the legitimate wise guy changed on some of the actors, so he was out trying to get locked in, because you don't get the actors locked in, you can't sell it. That's basically you sell the movie.
Joe, do me a favor. When the show ends, stay in the studio. I want to talk to you for a minute.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Right now, folks.
Peace out.
It's time to say goodbye. Thank you all for stopping by. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Peace out.
The combination of the videotapes and Wemette's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.